The four objectives that I'm going to discuss today in my reflection are organize information to show understanding and help solve problems, work collaboratively and critique each other's work, connect problem-solving strategies to K-12 grade standards, and using technology to communicate in an online environment along with communicating solutions to problems, because I feel that those two go together well. So for the first standard of organizing information, I have found that this is very important because by doing this, you are able to put all the information given to you in a problem in one place. I did not do this in the beginning of this class, and I found that once I started doing this, it really helped me, especially in this unit for the problem 9 dots, because the first time I read through the problem, I had read it incorrectly. And then I thought, there is no way that we can solve this problem. So this was the information that we were given. What we know for this problem was there are 9 dots on a piece of paper, and no 3 of the dots are in a straight line, and the triangles can be formed using these dots. So when I read this problem the first time, I read it as no 2 dots are in a line. And I was like, well, that's the definition of a line, 2 dots. So I said, there is no way that I can solve this problem. And I even put that in my post, that I thought that there was no way. And then I reread the problem and found, oh, wait, it says no 3 dots are in a straight line, which made much more sense. So had I not reread it and then written down the information that I knew and was given to be able to solve this problem, there was no way that I was going to be able to solve the problem. Also, when it comes to organizing information, to be able to understand a problem, you have to know all the information. So if you read the problem and miss one part of it, then you can't solve the entire problem. Being able to organize your information is also important when you're teaching, because you may have a student that doesn't understand a problem, and then when you have them write down all the information they're given, or circle, or even just have them look at the information that they're given, they may be able to understand the problem. And if they're not understanding the problem for a reason, you may be able to see what part of the problem they're missing by what they understand from the given information. The second objective I'm going to talk about is working collaboratively and critiquing each other's work. I feel that in this class, being an online format, is somewhat hard to work collaboratively with people because, one, we're online, we're not all in a class together, and we don't know each other. So being able to work collaboratively, I feel, is really hard in this class. I haven't actually worked on any problems outside of this class with someone before posting. I think all the work happens after we make our initial posts and we're able to see how other people have solved the problems, and that helps us to work collaboratively. When it comes to critiquing each other's work, as I said in my last video, I find it somewhat difficult because I never know if I don't ever want to say the wrong thing, and I never want what I'm saying to be taken the wrong way. So I try really hard to find problems that people have gotten to a certain point and not been able to find an answer, or they've worked out through the whole problem and they get a wrong answer, or answer that's not what the answer is supposed to be. So I find that it's much easier to be like, hey, this is how I solved the problem, and give them a tip or something like that, than just to look at someone's problem that they did well and be like, great job, this is exactly how I solved the problem. Even though I have done that in this unit and other units. But I feel like it's much easier to critique other people's work and use constructive criticism when they're missing a part in the problem, or they looked over it, like I have seen, to be able to solve it. And I did that this unit in the obstacle course problem, because I had found actually 2 students that had worked and worked and worked to try to solve the problem. Sorry, wrong problem, not the obstacle course problem. I'm really sorry. I'm talking about the descending numbers problem, because I had seen 2 students that had worked really hard to try and find it by listing out in the 900s and all the way up, trying to list up all the way to the 9 or 10 digit number that it ended with. So I showed them how I had used the combination strategy to solve the problem, starting with a 10 digit number all the way down to a 2 digit number, and I hope that that was really helpful to them. My third strategy will be connecting problem-solving strategies to standards. So I'm taking another math class right now where we are we solve problems, solve given problems, and then we're told which standards they align with. So we like solve a certain type of problem, and then we're told what standard. And in this class, I really like that we solve the problems and then we have to find a standard that they connect to. And I feel that this is very beneficial for me because in the past I haven't had to do this. So with being able to find problem-solving strategies that actually fit, it's really interesting that there's like no problem-solving standards. So being able to connect what we have done in class with problems is interesting. But I also feel like it's a little bit hard because the problems that we're solving are college level, and then we're connecting them to elementary, middle school, high school standards, which sometimes the problems that we have solved are way above what they could be doing at that level. And I also think that it's really interesting to see how I connect the standards and the problems and how someone else may connect the standards and the problems using the same problem. We could use the same problem, but being able to choose a different standard. Like with the mathematical practices, I use making a model, and I demonstrate math using models, and I obviously use draw a diagram, but also I use, as well as using create a physical representation because those are both physical models that you can make. And then Brittany had commented back and said that another way that you could use this mathematical practice is logic matrix logic, and that made total sense to me because you're drawing out a model and making your checks and circles out to what pieces of the information so you can solve the problem. So that was really helpful for me to see as well. And the last standard that I'm going to talk about is using technology to communicate as well as communicating our solutions to the problems. So throughout this course, I found that making videos can be super beneficial to myself as well as others to show how I solve problems. For example, in Unit 3, I made a video for what problem was that? For the quit while you can problem, to show how I use converting units to solve the problem. And Olivia commented and told me that my video was super helpful, and also that when she struggles with a problem, she'll try to find my problem, how I solve the problem. It will really be helpful to her. So I feel like that really helps me to see that I'm communicating effectively when other people can understand how I solved problems and help them to solve the same exact problems. I also feel that, like I said previously in maybe my last video, that just because this is an online class doesn't mean that we shouldn't be communicating with others. So being able to make videos is very helpful in that too. And I feel that when constructing my posts, I really try to break it down step by step so people can see how I solve the problem in case they weren't able to solve the problem, and that it's helpful for them. Sometimes I feel when I'm writing up my solutions, though, I'm making them long paragraphs, and I've said I want to improve on that, and I just can't find a way to help me do that besides making them really long, statement by statement of how I solve the problems. I'm trying to find a way to concisely state my solutions. And I feel that being able to communicate with technology as a teacher is very important because you have to communicate with your students, you can communicate with parents, you can communicate with the community using technology, and sometimes using videos to help in songs to help students learn standards and concepts is very helpful if they are visual or audio learners. And being able to work collaboratively with your fellow classmates, in a K-12 environment, is very helpful because you're able to hopefully open eyes of students that solve problems differently than you. I think it's really important for teamwork and collaboration in classrooms when solving any kinds of problems, including math, because as we've learned in this course, there's multiple ways that we can solve problems. So say one student used algebra while another student had made a model. So then those students can come together and show each other how they solve the problem, because a lot of times younger students think, well, there's only a way to solve the problem and my way is the right way. But being able to see other students solving the same problems in different ways and becoming up with the same answers is beneficial to them because it's opening their eyes and making them become critical thinkers. Because sometimes you may think that algebra is the only way to solve a problem, but there may be some problems that algebra cannot be used to solve. So I feel like being able to communicate your solutions in using technology is very important for students and the teacher. So I feel like this unit really opened my eyes to more things that I just keep learning, and I can hope that Unit 5 continues to do that, and I'm just ready for that.